Welcome to the Heroes Market Monitor webinar, how to use AI to keep an eye on your market. So, let me first introduce ourselves. So, who are we? We are Heroes. We are a data and AI focused consultancy. And who am I? Well, I'm Mark Cooper. I'm the lead AI engineer at Heroes. And today I want to talk about monitoring your market and why information is important to you. So let me give you 3 examples of situations that you and your business may be facing. So say, for instance, you're a marketing manager and you want to monitor the products that you've launched. Well, you need to capture information about what the market is saying. Are they liking it? What improvements do they think that they could do in the next launch? And all these other bits and bobs that people are saying about the products that you are putting out there. With this information, the next time that you develop a new product, you can execute on the information that you've gathered in the product monitoring cycle, allowing you to improve your product, improve the services that you're able to give, and to genuinely add more value for your customers. Or potentially you work in research, who's been tasked to monitor competitors. Well, what about if your competitors are launching loyalty promotions or general promotional campaigns? Well, how do you react to that? You need to execute on that information again by knowing what your competitors are doing and then how to respond. Do you do a counter promotion? Do you wait until their promotion is ended to launch your own promotion in order to gain more customers? Or simply speaking, potentially you're part of the sales team who works for a manufacturing company that sells industrial interfaces. And the information that you need is information on new manufacturing capabilities such as factories being built. And that information is what you use to execute on in order to drive sales. So that's a high level of some of the tasks that a person in a business may need to perform in order to drive value and execute on information that is freely available out there. So how would you go about this? Well, at the moment, you'd have to sift through a lot of raw information. So as I said, the internet is full of a lot of information, whether that's news articles, whether that's web pages, whether that's social media, or even blogs. All this information has to be somehow channeled into a big funnel, and then you need to be able to extract the more valuable insight out of that, whether that be about your market, your competitors, or even potential leads. The issue is manually collecting that data is very difficult, and sorting and organizing it is even more difficult. Not just the time, but also how do you do this in a scheduled fashion? It slowly starts getting more and more complicated the more that you need to do this. So how would you currently go about this? Well, let's take the example of sales. You are a sales manager, like our previous example, where you have to find new leads to sell your industrial interface equipment. So what you may do, you may go to Google and search for new factories that have been announced. And back you get 10 results from Google. So you read all those and you write down potential leads that you may extract from that. Okay, so you've got 10 leads. Well, now you may perform new factories announced in different regions because you are a multinational company. Okay, well, now you've got 3 search results and 30 potential articles that you have to read through, label, and mark. Okay, well, because you're smart and you know that factories aren't the only place in the world that need industrial equipment interfaces, well, potentially you also search for new shipyards that have been announced. Because see is that the more searches you performed, the amount of time and effort required doesn't scale linearly, especially when you're doing it manually. The more searches, the more varied your results have and your search patterns have to be, the more and more time you're going to be spending each day, week, month performing these searches, performing these operations, organizing all this raw information just to extract this data. So how about we try and move towards a smarter solution? So before we do that, let's identify where the bottleneck is first. So as we've established, the bottleneck is in the collection and organization of that raw information. But the value lies on the other side of that. It lies in the information that you get at the end of the funnel. So getting the right information at the right time, being able to follow up about the latest news, that latest lead will mean that you're the first person talking to that new potential client of yours. So how would you traditionally get more value? So if you want to drive that more insight, well, what you're going to have to do, well, you're going to have to add more capacity to alleviate that bottleneck. So say, for instance, you have two people searching for all these different leads for you. Okay, well, then you add a third. Okay, now you have a larger sales team. Okay, add a fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. By the time that you're getting to the point where you've got 10 or so people searching, researching all of these articles online, organizing them, scaling beyond that doesn't really make much more sense. It's expensive, it's time consuming, and your effort could be spent doing the actual thing that drives value, actioning on the insight that you've gained from this raw information. So why not instead be a bit smarter? Why not instead leverage AI to do the collection and organization for you? This means that you can focus on extracting more value from that information by spending time actioning on the data rather than collecting it. So, introducing the Heroes Market Monitor, your new AI research assistant. Well, first of all, what is it? It's a platform that leverages AI to find you personalized information that helps you drive value in your company. How does it work? Well, simply put, it searches the web for raw information for you and this automated schedule, and it uses AI to read these articles for you and to give you back the useful information that you need in order to drive value. So as the blurb, well, how does that actually work? So understanding the system. So what we've created an AI that looks at both general web traffic as well as social media traffic. It collects all that for you, puts it into a database, and then we have a per language model. Now, this is just a small little sample of the languages that we do support, but each of these models is specifically trained for you and what you think gets you value from the raw information. These AIs then sort all of these raw articles so that the topmost article is the most relevant piece of information for you. And then that information displayed to you via a UI or however you want, really, which then, as you interact with the system then looks at how you interact with it and then learns and takes those essentially labels. So like, I found this really interesting, I found this relevant, I did not find this relevant. It uses that to further train the AIs. So the more you use the system, the better it becomes at finding you exactly what you need and what you want in order to drive value. So that's kind of how the system works, but how does that work in a more, in a more organizational way? So you have, on the left-hand side, you have the raw information. The first stage that we put this raw information, this collected raw information that we've collected from web, social, all that sort of stuff, we pass that through a relevancy AI. Now, this relevancy AI is specifically trained on what you believe is relevant. Not no one else, it's just your personal AI. That then sorts the information into, at the very top, the most relevant piece of information, and then the very bottom, as it goes down, it thinks it's less and less relevant to you. Then the interesting part comes for when you want to add categories to that AI. to those articles. Now, this category can be whatever you want. It can be what type of industry is the article talking about, what team is this interesting for, what department is this interesting for, whatever you want, it can be trained. You can also have multiple AIs, category AIs, that all do different categories. But for this example, we then predict the sources of information, and then we categorize it so that team A only gets the articles they're interested in, team B only the ones they're interested in, and the same for team C. This then instantly allows you to get raw information, have it sorted, and then sent to the people that actually want it, without you having to spend all that time doing that manually. So what does this mean in an operational sense? Well, let's go back to the example of the sales manager. So what we do, we get all those articles and we then push it through the AI and then label how relevant this piece of information is for the sales manager. Well, then all the sales manager has to do is look at the very top, the most relevant thing that sales manager needs in order to drive a sale. They just look at the very top one, execute on that information. Then take the second one, execute on that information. Take the third one, execute on that information. All of a sudden, we've completely cut out the need to do the manual research, to do the lead generation, and to organize it. It's just been done for you, allowing the sales manager to do what they're good at, following up on leads and driving business and value. So, how do I get smart and how do I onboard a new AI? Well, say for instance, we're sitting today. We have a fairly standardized approach. Obviously, everything is a bit different, but we've worked with a couple of clients so far, and this is the usual plan that we have. So we allow for 1 day to set up. What this does, it establishes what information is valuable to you. So what information will help you drive value in your business. We understand that we write a concrete blurb on what that means to you. We then set up your company's environment, and then we configure your AI system. Then we enter the learn phase. We believe that this takes about 2 weeks. So this phase is mainly concerned around teaching you how to use the system and high intensity AI training and monitoring cycle. So this is where we help the AI learn as much as it can in a shorter time period. And then we also review the AI performance with you on a regular basis. Then after that, you just use it for however long you want. We then transition into this usage mode that we've called it, which allows you to focus on actioning on the data that the AI is giving you. And we then move to a more automated and scheduled AI training so that it continually learns from how you use the system and the articles that you're interested in. And then we also allow for long-term AI performance monitoring. So just to recap, we say that within just over 2 weeks, you could have a fully fledged AI system helping you gather raw information and sorting and organizing it so that you can action on this data in 2 weeks, and then you just have it for however long you want. But the proof's in the pudding. So we've got some case studies that I'd like to share with you. So we've got a couple of clients already who are using this, but some of the examples I thought I'd share. So main one is a sales lead generation. So what we're asked to do, what we asked the AI to do is deliver weekly sales leads for a manufacturing company, allowing them to action faster on that information. So they were, as the example, they were spending a lot of time manually looking for leads on the internet, organizing and everything like that. Now they no longer have to do that part of their sales. All they have to do now is action on the information that we're giving them. And we've actually found that the leads generated by the AI have directly turned into new business revenue. So we find that is one of our greatest successes with this. Another one, also monitoring your competitors. So one of our clients really wanted to see what their competitors were doing in the loyalty rewards markets. What they were happening, they had an entire team dedicated to researching competitors' actions, and this would take an entire week, if not two, just to gather all the required information, organize it, categorize it, and everything into a nice usable data set. And so what we found is after we implemented the AI system, we reduced the amount of time required from weeks to hours, while also increasing the amount of information that we gathered for them. So we also think that was a huge success. An interesting one, actually, where we helped a client get into a new market by allowing them to do a preliminary research into a new industrial market. They wanted to gain insight into the trends of the market so that they could build a business case and how to best transition into that new market. And this is still ongoing, but the reports that we're getting are very positive, that the information being gathered is very relevant for them, and that it's really streamlined their process of finding what's happening in that market that they currently have very little understanding of. And so, yeah, it's been a great help for them. And the final one, it's actually candidate search. So our client needed to find very specialized talent that is not available through traditional means. And what this meant that we were able to deliver them a weekly list of candidates that you couldn't find anywhere else. And this meant that when this client was able to approach these candidates, they were the only ones able to approach these candidates because no one else knew that these candidates existed or what their movements were in the market. So it really helped them beat out their competition by just being faster to action on that information compared to everyone else that they were competing against. So these are just 4 case stories that we have. There are other ones, but these are the main ones that I wanted to highlight, just to kind of give an overview of what this system can do and potentially how we could help you as well. So if you wanted to get in touch about getting your own market monitor, well, how about you drop us an email or connect with us on LinkedIn, and we can sort out an initial consultation to see how Market Monitor could potentially help your business. So yeah, the email address is marketmonitor@heroes.nl. You can also get in touch with us, as I said, via LinkedIn, or if you want, you can get in touch with me on LinkedIn personally as well. So yeah, thank you very much, everyone, for listening. I hope that's been really useful for you. And yeah, if anyone has any questions, please let me know. Thanks, everyone.